Let's do this. We've got John in India, who
Hey.
is a Gnostic Christian, wanting to talk about universal salvation, reconciliation as I think the only justifiable answer against anthropodicee or anthropodicee, which is a version of theodicy, and antinatalism. Hey, John, there's a lot there. How about, since neither myself nor Forrest are antinatalists, we just skip that? I don't need an argument against something I'm not in favor of.
Why are you not in favor of that? Because I feel like earlier atheists were questioning the religious people. Now the people within the atheist community are questioning. I call them as anti-natalists, questioning other belief systems who were humans hold.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not interested in having children, but I'm certainly not taking a moral high ground based on that. I just don't want to. So, like, I don't think people should have children until they're ready. I don't think people should have children until they're financially stable, but I'm also not trying to make a moral judgment based on that.
Yeah, John, all I'm saying is neither Forrest nor myself are antinatalists, so there's no point spending time arguing against a position that we don't hold.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always felt like those anthropodicee and antinatalism was linked to each other. That's the reason I.
No, they're not linked to each other. They're not linked to each other in any. So
how would
anthropodicee is a study. It's a potential solution to the problem of evil that puts the issue. It puts the onus on humans. That's separate from antinatalism, and antinatalism is primarily the position that one should not have children. Period.
Yeah.
And primarily it comes from claiming that you're bringing someone into a harmful universe without their consent. But let's set all that aside and try to get to your subject. I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, so I was searching for the answers to antinatalism. Then I came to this concept of anthropodicee. So I checked the Job chapter where Job questions God for all the evil. Then I came to anthropodicee. Like, then I understood with the death of God with the modern science, like the society, how will humans start asking their parents why did they created them in first place, when they will go through all the suffering, aging, all those things. And with the search to answers to antinatalism, early answers I found from some Gnostic Christians were universal salvation or reconciliation. I was not able to find any other justifiable answers. So that's the reason I have put only. It's only as of the available knowledge. I don't know about the other justifiable answers. So I want to know about the other answers to these questions. Like, why should someone create a life and go through all the sufferings and ultimately death? And so if there's some justice, I think, if for a wishful thinking person or something who believes in universal salvation or reconciliation, that can be an answer to anthropodicee or antinatalism. That's what I think.
Just to be clear, are you making that argument, or are you just presenting it as something that you learn? Do you think that universal salvation is the only way to justify having children?
That sounds reasonable to me from all the arguments I heard against antinatalism. I couldn't find any other arguments, which seems reasonable to me. I might be wrong. Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing to say for just, we can make the world a better place where kids don't have to suffer if we all just, get up and do it, because you can't breathe or eat money. And if we can agree on that, then the world will be a little bit better. You're just taking the world exactly as it is and saying this is the only way that it can be. And if I have children, they're going to suffer and die in this horrible world. And the only way around that is the fact that they live forever with God.
But even this solution is not that perfect, because the argument against this point is that they say is that what do you call a non-existent being doesn't have any desires to be deprived. So there doesn't have any desires to go to heaven because they don't exist in the first place. But if you say about the making the world a better place or something, then they argue that this is like something not for the interest of the kid. It's an interest for others. I mean, as the future descendants or future beings or someone. And the argument of extinction comes into point when one day humans might go extinct. So all those things we have worked hard. It's a very nihilistic thing. That's the reason when Matt was saying about antinatalism, I always feel that within the atheistic community, that nihilistic thought, right? Questioning other belief systems which we take as granted, life is gift or something, that belief system, right? So I feel like that's the reason. One thing I find somewhat reasonable within the religious community who believes in it to be a justifiable answer. Others, like Kant's imperative is then a man should not be used for, I forgot. Okay.
Well, you also said that you believe in this, and you said that you think that the only reason why we should keep having children is if there is a God for them to be saved by. So my follow-up question to that would be, what if, just hypothetically, you were to be proven wrong? If you became an atheist, if you were thoroughly convinced that there is no God anymore and you just didn't believe in this, would you then be against having children entirely?
Like if I become an atheist, okay, so the idea here is like I was actually an atheist, so this was the main problem of conflict between me and my parents. I was born in a poor family, so I used to question them until I came to know about this anthropodicy. Then it's my wishful thinking and Pascal's wager which made me to take a leap of faith. My belief is not based on some evidence or something. So I might.
Well, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So other thing is, I feel like a blind person cannot understand color, right? What if there is a cruel God who created humans for his or her needs, and they made us blind. God became incomprehensible because we don't have that mental capacity to understand him or her. So
right. So now you're giving us reasons why you believe in a God, and I'm sorry to say they're not very good reasons, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if you were to change your mind on God, if you were to become an atheist, would you then be thoroughly against anyone having children?
Yes, I'll consider myself as an anti-natalist in that sense, but I can still see some arguments which are good in terms of color.
Do you not value bodily autonomy at all? Like for me, the only reason I need to have a kid is that I want one, and I can want it for lots of reasons, including I enjoyed my life. I would like to share that with a new life. I took care of my progenitors. I would like somebody behind to take care of real dotage. This is
violate the bodily autonomy of the child, which is being brought into.
No, the child doesn't have any bodily autonomy until it's a child. It doesn't have any bodily autonomy when it's non-existing.
Yeah, so that's an impossibility thing, right? So the harm principle, when we can't take any.
I don't give a shit about the harm principle.
The consent argument, like when you are not able to take.
You're not listening.
From someone.
Okay, he's not listening. So no, I'm done. I have a new policy that if I say stuff and it doesn't get addressed and the person wasn't listening to what I actually said, now I've been sitting here thinking about what you said, trying to understand it, trying to figure out what your point is and why it's relevant to the show. And so I sat here and listened to you and I offered questions and thoughts, and instead of listening to them, you just went on with whatever you wanted to say next. So I'll let Forrest finish it up and we'll go into another call.
Yeah, I would say I disagree with Matt slightly on like why to have children, but I do agree with him.
Oh, I'm not saying that's why. I'm saying, what's wrong with those reasons?
You threw out some reasons. I didn't know if you held them to yourself or not, but I would just say
I'm not going to have kids probably.
Right.
I'm just saying what better reason could I have than those? I mean, I don't need to,
but
I
don't
think
agree.
There's any requirement that anybody justify having kids.
I do agree with that. I agree with the idea that if you want to have children and you're medically able to, you should be allowed to do it because it's your body, it's your family. You can do whatever you want. As long as you're not, having children for the sole purpose of, using them for your own purposes. I think that's weird, but like, whatever, man. Like it's your family, it's your tradition, it's your culture, it's your life.
I enjoyed my life and want to share that with somebody else.
There you go. That's lovely.
That's where I started.
Yeah. So like, sure, that's all fine. And I agree with you on that part. So like, I don't think that it's reasonable, again, as I said at the very beginning, to take any kind of a moral high ground and say that by bringing a child into this world, you're forcing them to be alive. You're forcing them to suffer through this, that, or the other. The whole point of, human lineage is supposed to be that we're making things better for the next generation, not that we're just thrusting the next generation into this world to see what will happen. So I wholeheartedly disagree with where you're coming from there, John. And I especially disagree with the idea that some sort of salvation, some sort of God makes it better. I think that makes it exponentially worse. And your reasons for believing in God that you gave were, I'm sorry to say, no more interesting or exciting or compelling than anybody else's. They made me not want to believe in the God that you do even more, because those sound like really bad, horrible, and threatening reasons, really, especially since you brought up Pascal's wager as a reason why you believe. I don't like threats, and I don't listen to people who threaten me. So, like, I'm not a fan of the God you're promoting. I'm not a fan of the morals that you're promoting. Have kids if you want them. Just take care of them. That's all.